Well, from inside here, the SS is definitely the car we'd be going for. Well, when we got here, the Standard 10 was out on circuit practicing, but alas, it isn't going to be racing. It's going back home because of an electrical fault which caused some smoke to billow out from under the dashboard. So that was a bit of a shame, but nice Mini. Over here, we've got a bit of pre-war action. What is this then? This, I think, is one of the base models. It's a 65 105E. Good morning, folks. It's Oulton Park and the Gold Cup. Today is Saturday. It's the middle day of a 3-dayer. We've got a nice Healy pulling in. Today's Chariot is a standard. It's a little bit of a wet day, but hopefully things will dry out a bit. There is a bit of rain forecast for later, so that should make the circuit quite exciting. There's a bit of practice going on out there at the moment. Some saloon cars are... We're going to have a quick wander over to the paddock, see what's going on, and we'll catch up with some of the track action a little bit later on, I think. Well, we're just en route to the paddock area, but this is the classic car auction which is taking place this weekend at the Gold Cup here at Oulton Park. So let's have a look at some of the older cars. TR4, very shiny MGB. It's quite a late one on the W. A Sprigget, split screen Morris Minor, Series 2. Let's have a look at the blurb in the window. Split screen, 1955. There we go. No reserve. Oof. Tempting, nice chrome on it. It's been a little bit damp. Does make every car look very shiny, but this one, even if it's dry, I think would be a nice shiny car. So what else? There is another Morris next to it. Slightly later, one-piece windscreen. That's on a G, so that's late 60s. A Moggy Traveller. That's a 65 on a C-Reg. Nice old style number plates, that's always good. Yep, so I've got a trio of classic Morris Minors there. The wood looks pretty good on this one. Still a bit of rain in the air, which isn't great. And over here we've got a gaggle of Land Rover products. Nice Series 3. And an old Austin taxi. Is this a 12.4? I think this is an Austin 12.4 low loader taxi, I suspect. I haven't looked at the screen. Austin 12.4 heavy Londelette taxi cab, estimate 10 to 15. Very nice, hope it doesn't get too damp today. One of these turned up at the Malpas meet the other evening. It wasn't this one. Guessing that's a London registration. Very clean in there, isn't it? Not much in the way of instrumentation. So you didn't have to worry about speed cameras in those days. Not that you would in one of these anyway, probably, but you know what I mean. It's a bit drier in here. So what's this? Is this an SS? That's nice, isn't it? Quick look at the information. So this is Hampson Auctions that are running this. 20 to 25 is the estimate. What a glorious car that is. 1937 Jaguar SS 1.5 litre saloon. Just zoom in on this and you can pause it to read a little bit more about the history of this car. I know Hampson's had an auction here last year for the Gold Cup, so I was hoping there'd be another auction here today. Such a low roof line, I mean that's level with, pretty much level with my chest. Very sleek car indeed. So what size engine are these? I'm not sure if it says on here. 1500. Oh yeah, 1.5 litre. That's a beauty, that, isn't it? Yep, that'll be the one for me, I think. And this is a very nice Jaguar Mark II. That's a 3.8. Very swish. Got a Sierra Cosworth and a Jensen Interceptor. Very cool car. Huge Chrysler V8 under there, lots of louvers on the top of the bonnet to try and keep it cool. 1969 Jensen Interceptor Mark 1, estimate 45 to 55. Yeah, it's really nice. An E36 Ferrari of some description, really nice little Sprite here. So what year is this one? It's a 60 Austin A40 Frog Eye Sprite, full nut and bolt rebuild. And there's its later cousin. What year is this one? So the Frog Eye is a 60 and this is a 63, so there's only 3 years or so between them, but very different looking cars. You can see that the scuttle panel here is very, very similar on both cars, but obviously this has got the lift up front on it. It's rear hinged, although some people have converted them to be front hinged like on the Spitfires and Heralds, but as standard these are rear hinged, whereas this has a conventional bonnet arrangement on it. Which would you go for? Let me know in the comments. I do like a Frog Eye. It'd be interesting to see what the estimates are. That's 10 to 15 and that's 8 to 10, so the Frog Eye's certainly valued a bit more than the later car, which you'd expect. But once you're spending 10,000 or so, you might as well spend a little bit more and get the one you want if it's a Frog Eye you really want. Anyway, let's have a look. Couple of motorbikes. Triumphs, very nice. A big Healy, Austin Healy 3000, very tasty. Another one. A rubber bumper. It's quite an affordable way into classic car ownership if you want a little sporty two-seater convertible, 1977. The estimate's 8 to 10. It does look like a good one. Another Austin Healy. Which one's this? 100? Is this 104 or 106? I'm not quite sure. 56, 104 BN2. Estimate 28 to 32. Do like those wheels. The centre knock-ons look the part. What have we got here? Got a Mini, another Coopers. One of the later cars from sort of the late 80s, early 90s. What's that on a K? Mini Mayfair, Triumph TR6, Triumph TR6. You always see plenty of TRs around here. Got a Speedster here. Now what's this? A Chesil Speedster based on the 1972 chassis, estimate 25 to 30. Oh, it's got all the look of an original Porsche Speedster. Chesil are one of the better known builders of these sort of recreated replica Porsche Speedsters, and I'm sure that's a lovely car to have on a nice fine sunny summer's day, which today it isn't. It's actually tipping it down out there now, so I'm jolly glad. I like this Mini. So that's on an M, so that's a Mark III. So this is the first of the Minis that had the sort of built-in door hinges as opposed to on the outside. Yeah, I know, it's lovely that, isn't it?
It's interesting how that's 20 to 25,000 estimate, and that Sierra Cosy over there is 30 to 40 estimate.
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot more for the money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd definitely go for the Jaguar. Yeah. Has it stopped raining yet? No. Well, from inside here, the SS is definitely the car we'd be going for. Fortunately, Junior agrees, which is quite reassuring. But this is actually quite tasty. I almost missed this. The Lotus 7, an original Lotus 7 of the early 1960s. That is very cool indeed. I love the way they've got the old Lucas fog lamps as their illumination. Let's have a quick look at this one. 1962 Lotus 7S2 road-going competition car with extensive spares, 25 to 30. There we go. That looks like a hoot. Plenty of competition stickers in there. Scrutineering stickers. Well, it's eased off a bit now, so a quick look round. I've got an 85 Opel Manta there. Golf, made those for years. Lots of Jaguars along here. Let's have a quick look. Nice XJS. So what's that, on a Y? So early 1980s. Got a V8 Daimler, one of the X308 series Daimlers, an XJ40, another XJS, very nice Mark II on steel wheels. So we've got a 3.8 inside, KCC, it's North Wales. This is a 2.4, probably half the value of the one inside. This one's estimated 18 to 22, a lot of car for the money. Looks nice, very nice. Manual. Let's carry on. XJS, another XJ40. XJS convertible, very nice. XJ Coupe, these are nice, two-door coupe on an R-Edge. Of course now it's legal to have silver and black number plates, even though those wouldn't have been original fit back in the day. I'm not sure about them still really. Got the Kent alley wheels. Estimate 12 to 14. It's automatic. It's a 4.2, yeah, 1977. Lovely looking car, that. Nice, isn't it?
That is cool.
It is pretty tasty, isn't it? The XJ 4.2C.
It's a straight 6, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 4.2. Nice.
That is very nice.
I was here 12 to 14. It's not out the way, is it? No. I like the way the trim just cuts around the
Yeah, that is quite
nice
cool.
little detail, but yeah, I mean you have to check these for rot arches where the trailing arms mount to the back of the floor under there. You have to check that. Obviously sills, bottom of the wings, around the headlights. There are lots of places to look for rust on an XJ, but get a good one. Get a good one. This panel behind the wheel, this panel unbolts. You can take that panel off. It's like almost like an inspection panel, and that allows you to have a proper look at the top of the sill section at the front end, which is quite good because it gets battered by all the road dirt and things from the front wheel here. So if you've got one of these, take that panel off and get a load of wax oil in there, because it's a really good place to slop some in. Now, Series 2 E-Type, 2+2. And over here we've got some real oldies over here. So what's this? An Alvis LRB 990. So what's that, a TC21, I think? I'm sure someone will let me know. Proper old car now. Nice interior. Porsche 928 coming in. Yep, there's going to be exhibitors coming in all day. We got here fairly early so we could have a quick scoot round before things get too busy out on track. Now what's this? Slice of Americana, Chevrolet. So what year is that? Sort of, I don't know. So what's that, late 40s or early 1950s, maybe 52ish, something like that. I'll have a look. LLL 124, we'll look that one up. Right hand drive, that's interesting. I wonder if it's come in, I mean it could have always been here I suppose, but maybe it came in from South Africa or Australia or somewhere like that perhaps. Well, there is a bit of information in the window here. That always helps. 4-door sedan, 1951, there you go, 1951. Chevrolet Style Line Deluxe Saloon. Blah, 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 blah. I wonder what it says. Decidedly rare in the UK. Definitely. Yeah, very nice. Look at that interior. I'm not sure if we can see through the window, but looks jolly nice. It's one of the old classic car forum regulars, Mike, in his Forenza, his Droop Snoot Forenza. Another Jensen Interceptor. Anyway, right, so that's a nice. Right?
Convertible.
What? No, the Jensen, they did do a few of them.
Oh, I didn't know that they did. That must be rare.
Yeah. So, this is 1951. This is a little bit earlier, 1940.
I guess of the estimate, just out of interest.
The estimate?
Yeah.
Well, based on the some of the American cars I saw sell at the NEC recently. It wouldn't be that high. Yeah, I bet this is about 8 to 12.
8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Pretty good, yeah. They might not even make that though.
No. Well, that huge Packard. There was a glorious Packard at the NEC, and it went for just over £5,000. I couldn't believe it. £5,000 would only buy you a reasonable Morris Minor. This one's 8 to 10. I mean, what a car. This is a left hooker. Remained in its native Canada until imported to the UK in 2016. I mean, you do need a big garage, that's the only downside. Yeah. What a car. I mean, look at that. That is glorious. 1940. Oh, it's a Riley 1.5 coming in. A40 Sports.
What was that one behind?
A40 Sports.
A40 Sports? Is that just a different body or something?
Yeah, it's a rebodied Somerset.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, back to this Chevy. I mean, either of these two. I mean, American cars aren't for everyone, I know, but I mean, what a car, what a lot of car. And that would really cover the miles if you wanted to do shows a bit further away. That would be just fantastic. And if that Packard that I saw at the NEC earlier this year, or was it last year, is anything to go by, these can sometimes sneak through the net and they go for not much money at all compared to, you know, some of the other cars that are here today. But, you know, not everyone wants to run the 1940s Chevy, but it would do me just fine. So we've got a Porsche 914 here. These are nice for a modern Bentley, or modern to me. This is the last of the good looking Bentley saloons, I think. We've all gone a bit footballer now, but I think these are still sort of remain classy. These Turbo R's have got a certain something. That's a nice one as well. Maserati Quattroporte. RS Turbo, mid 1980s. Lots of Sierra Cosworths, super popular. But for the price of one of these Cosses, I could buy that 1940 Chevy down there and the SS Jaguar inside. So I think that's what I'd be doing. Anyway, fortunately we all have different tastes. So what's this? An XR6 South African import. We like obscure cars. An ultra rare sight on UK roads, the XR6 Sierra was only manufactured by Ford's plant in Pretoria, South Africa. It's a real rarity, that is. The Cosy, huge exhaust. I measure exhaust sizes by the size of boot you could get in there, so I'm guessing that's probably a size 8 exhaust. Capri 1.6, modern Mustang. Right, there's a few other oldies at the top, so let's go and have a look at those. Over here is a really nice Rover P6, a V8, so that's got a 3.5 litre engine. Now, is it a 3500S, which has the manual box, or is it an auto?
Yeah,
Auto, 6 to 8. Yeah.
It's an automatic, which maybe devalues it a little bit, but still.
Yeah, they're still pretty reasonably priced, the P6s. P5s have shot up, but the P5Bs have. Yeah, the P5Bs have really shot up. Yeah, the V8 version of the P5. But that's neat, isn't it?
Is that the Morris symbol on it?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Just a bit faded.
Yeah, it's quite neat, isn't it? Yeah. So,
only I would notice that.
Very tasty Rover.
I've been trained to notice those things.
Yes, you have. 1966 Bridget. There's these two BMWs on the end. They've got a 5 Series, an E28. It's a 518. Very crisp looking cars. If you want a modern classic, you could do a lot worse than one of those. Well, this is a 6 Series. So what's this? A 635? They did all sorts. 633s, 635s. 635 CSI, 28 to 30.
This one's an automatic.
Yeah.
Were they all automatic?
Possibly. The M version may have been manual, I'm not sure. Right, now we're going off to the paddock. When did you last see one of these? Peugeot 505 GTI. You don't see so many large French cars. Well, it seems to be 205s and things like that, and Renault 5s and all that kind of thing, but the bigger saloons haven't really survived well at all. This is a 1987 car. Bit of a hot saloon of the 80s. I like that 5 Series Beamer we're looking at over there, really crisp 3-box saloon styling, which I miss. That's really nice. A very cool car indeed, I think. Oh, he's in his element now. Cool, look at these. Mike Hawthorne used to race these back in the 50s. It's a Cooper Bristol. So they didn't have these horrible roll cages on in those days, but you know. Yeah, a very popular, very successful car in the day. Frazer Nash. Look at that, Ford D Series Transporter. Was that?
Yeah, just in that.
So what's that, a 250F?
Yeah.
Maserati 250F. That was one of Sterling Moss's favourites, this was. He ran his own private one in the 1950s, painted it green. Yeah, often walking around the paddock is just as interesting as watching the racing out on the circuit. A lot of Coopers here today. The Lotus. Shame the weather's not really improving. Here's the ex-Sterling Moss Lotus. This is his 1961, I think, Monaco car. Gaggle of Lotus Cortinas. The Mini Cooper over here on the end, being fettled. Look at this, Racing A40 Farina Mark 1. That is very neat indeed, I like the wheels. Where's he wandered off to? Oh, he's over here. Just been eyeballing this Mark 1 Escort. Some of the 70s mod sport races are in action this weekend. I'm not sure if it's today or tomorrow. We're only here today. Some of the mod sport stuff from the early 70s, early to mid 1970s was pretty wild. They'd have the silhouette of a fairly regular road going car, but there was nothing much road going about this particular car. I mean, look at this Anglia here with that huge wing on the back. A few more single seaters over here. I'm not too well up on these particular cars, but Formula Junior. They do look like fun. Now, somewhat more glamorous is this Lotus Elite alongside. Not just any Lotus Elite, this is Daddio. This is a very famous race car version of the Elite. It's raced continuously throughout its history as far as I remember. I was fortunate enough to get a ride in one of these, not this one, but one of these around Silverstone a few years ago, and that was just, it was just incredible. Once I actually prized myself in those, because it's a bit of a tight fit, a bit of a tight squeeze, but what a cracking car that is. We spotted this just after we arrived. A race-prepared Vanguard 6-cylinder version. I think it's the Vignale version, which was a reworked version of the Phase 3. Who's found the VSCC cars? What a wild looking camper. That is something else. I don't know what that is. Anyway, VSCC racing. I think practice takes part today, or qualifying rather, and the race itself is tomorrow.
Yep.
We've got a Frazer Nash here. Chain drive. You can always tell the Frazer Nashes because they've got a much wider track at the front compared to the back. These are always great fun to watch in action. We've seen these at various hill climbs, Prescott, VSCC Prescott and Oulton Park and so on.
Brilliant these, aren't they?
Yes. Another GN.
Simple at the front, you just got a spring and then one like.
Many SU carburetors. And over here, very tasty looking Lotus Elan. Race prepared BMW here. So this is one of the 1800s, the Neue Klasse, slightly bigger than the 2002s and a bit earlier as well. I think we saw this one testing earlier in the year. Now I did just spot a lovely pre-war Riley somewhere over here. There we go, BF6722, road registered racing Riley. Now what's this based on? Riley, well, I don't suppose it's a 9, it's probably a Riley 12.4 I'd have thought. Whopping great fuel filler cap on the back. Well, a little beauty that is. Nice, isn't it? Old Brooklyn screens. Keeps a few of the flies out of your teeth. Probably not many. Now what on earth is that? I'm assuming it's a Ford based special of some sort. The wheels aren't Ford. Well, they're not Ford Pop anyway. A GSM Delta. That's a rare old bird, one of the 50s specials. Buy the body, get a chassis from somewhere and build your own car in the shed at home. There's an affordable way into running your own little sports car. There were so many different fiberglass bodies built in the 1950s and into the early 1960s. When the mainstream manufacturers started producing their own small sports cars, such as the Frog Eye Sprite and the Midget and the Spitfire, it kind of led to the demise of special building, because you could just go and buy perhaps a second-hand example for the similar money that building one of these will actually cost you. So yeah, this is a real rarity, complete with hardtop. I've never ever seen one of these before. It's up for sale, ladies and gentlemen, so if you fancy an interesting car, I think those are those Sprite wheels with those drilled circular holes in? I'm not quite sure, but that's a real rarity. It's worth coming just to see that. Wonderful little Alfa Romeo here. We may have seen this one earlier in the year testing for the Equip GTS series. This one may have been here, I can't remember now. Yes, it is good, yes. Now over here is the paddock for the 50s saloon cars and things like that. Jaguar Mark 1. 2.4 or 3.4 back in the day when they were new. This is a 3.4 genuine. What a beauty that is, I do like these. Obviously the forerunner of the Mark II. Yeah, it's a Mark 1, very different car. Smaller back window, much thicker pillars. The window surrounds are much thicker on the Mark 1 compared to the Mark II. Lots of differences, different back end, different suspension on narrower track on the original 2.4s and 3.4s. Good old XK straight six engine under there. Triple carburetors.
Well, I'm assuming it's still hit behind the wheel. Willis is back to second. So it's the 4.3 seconds. Yeah.
Next to that, got a Mark II. So you can see the difference here actually. Thick pillars on the Mark 1. I mean, it wasn't called the Mark 1 when it was on sale. It was a 2.4 or the 3.4. But then when the Mark II came along, they were retrospectively known as the Mark 1. And this is a Mark II with a much bigger window area. Rear arches have been modified on this one. Yeah, it's still got the seats in, hasn't it? Yeah. What a Bobby Dazzler that is. Another one here. It's great just watching these things being worked on. This is where you get the real sort of atmosphere of a race meeting, is mooching around here. I could spend all day here and probably not watch much of the racing, to be honest. But we will go and have a look at some of the track action a little bit later on. Got another Austin A40 here. Another Mark 1. From the side, the main difference between the Mark 1 and the Mark 2 is the wheelbase. Even though the overall length of the car stayed pretty much the same on the Mark 1 and the Mark 2, this is a Mark 1, although it's got a Mark 2 boot lid. The wheels, the axle was moved back a little bit on the Mark 2, and it also had hydraulic brakes all round, whereas the Mark 1s were hydraulic at the front and there was like a frame cylinder in the middle, and it operated mechanically to the rear wheels. Yeah, it's great to see another A40, Cortina GT. And what do we have over here? A standard, look at that. By heck. I didn't think we'd see another one here today, standard. It's either a late 8 or a 10 with the opening boot lid. All these luxuries that we don't have.
It's got a little hatch.
I like the wheels as well, those are quite rare.
Time writing.
Yes. Wow, that's very neat. I honestly didn't think we'd see another little standard here. Little terrier. He's got a few of the stickers as well. You can see some things which are similar to our car. many things that aren't. Well, when we got here, the Standard 10 was out on circuit practicing, but alas, it isn't going to be racing. It's going back home because of an electrical fault which caused some smoke to billow out from under the dashboard. So that was a bit of a shame, but nice Mini. But it's just great to see something different here. And that's, I mean, the Standard 10 is the last car you'd think of racing, but you know, it's got I think it's just under 1300cc engine that's in it. Got a remote gear shift. I'm not quite sure where that came from. I think they said the casing was GT6, but I don't think that's a GT6 extension.
Looks a bit different.
Yeah, it's a bit different to ours, isn't it?
I know what it is.
I like the wheels though. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I knew there'd be. No, so that's going back home now. So we won't be seeing that racing, sadly, but no doubt we'll see it somewhere else at some point in time. But I'm really pleased we saw it at all. So, what else have we got here in the paddock area for the 50s and 60s saloon car racing? Gorgeous Austin Mini Cooper S. And what's this? A Wolseley Hornet, the booted Mini. Again, always nice to see something a little bit different. Austin Cooper SS. Mark II Jag here with some very illustrious names on the side. Grant Williams Racing, Sterling Moss. Grant Williams, he's always good value for money when we've seen him at Goodwood. He's usually sideways in I think it's a Mark 1, a grey Mark 1. What a cracker that is. Triple SU carburettor, straight 6 engine. Yes, I think this is a Vignale version of the Phase 3 Vanguard. They sort of modified the lines a bit, just modernised them a bit, had a slightly bigger windscreen, deeper windscreen. Probably the rear window as well, I think. Vanguard 6. Beautiful. Nice Volvo Amazon here, 2-door Amazon. Probably a 122S or a 123 GT. Nice wide steel wheels. Lovely jubbly. It's a racing Beetle here. Apparently this belongs to a Drew Pritchard. TV's Drew Pritchard, antiques guru. Yeah, I do recognise it, yeah. There's Enzo the dog. Wonder what that goes like, especially in the damp. A couple of lovely little Mini Coopers being fixed up here. One's a Morris, the other's an Austin. Nice badge on the front, I like that. Wouldn't mind that. And over here, got a Riley 1.5 being fettled.
Unorthodox again.
Yes.
Nice to see this difference.
Those finned rear brake drums. Got discs on the front. Another brace of lovely classic racing Jaguars, and again the Mark 1 and the Mark 2.
Different lights.
Yeah, smaller lights on the Mark 1s. This is a 2.4 or a 3.4 these.
Just the other ones are like 3.8.
Yeah.
The Mark 2.
Yes, you had the option of a 3.8 in the Mark 2. Bye bye Standard 10. Hopefully next time.
Those Cooper Bristols sound amazing.
They do, don't they? Yeah, the single seaters are out at the
I haven't
moment.
seen them at Goodwood, but
Vittorio Brambilla, or Brambilla, I'm not sure which. So is it going to be slicks today? Or wets? Or inters? Whatever. Anyway, here's the assembly area. We've got various 60s sports cars parking up. What on earth is this? Sorry? Panhard. Well, I did wonder, being blue, French racing colours. Wow. I've never ever seen one of those. It looks a bit like an Austin Somerset without a roof.
How does that look like Austin Somerset without a roof?
Well, it's quite sort of dumpy, isn't it? You know. It's a really wild looking thing, isn't it? I don't know. Wow. It's the same as the front as the back, isn't it, almost? Pretty wild looking DAF, another one of the 70s mod sport era cars. Now this is the Farolac. It's based on an Allard but with a Cadillac engine. I've seen this many times in historic race events and hill climbs and so on. Looks like a bit of a wild ride.
And the Panhard by no means last, whether you think it's an ugly truth or not. Third is the Farolac. Fourth is this is what we're Frazer Nashes, but every young the outside is the Paddock. Who is, I'm sure he became darling of the crowd. He can't lose the Frazer Nashes crystal power in a straight line, but big couple a lot useless. Well, you'll see the gap there. Going to draw, or he was going to go over things. He was on the wrong line before and came out a little bit slower and got back into it.
Well, while the racing's going on, we'll have a quick walk around some of the public parking area. This is where people have booked in their classic cars, as opposed to the main public parking area. So we should have a rich seam of old car content to have a look at here. Got a couple of nice midgets, or Sprite rather, in the case of this one. A lovely old bullnose Morris, proper 1920s car. It's really nice. Modified Escort, an RS2000 over here. A magnificent Jaguar. Wow. How stylish is that? Mark 9. It's a helpful badge on the back there, but with the one-piece windscreen was a giveaway that it was a Mark 9, because I think the 7 and the 8 had the split screen. But by the time of the Mark 9, they went to the one-piece, so you can still see in the profile of the top of the roof there where it would have had a split windscreen at one point, the previous models. Okay, we've got a Ferrari look-alike based on the Z3, I think, Z3 BMW. The Turbo Esprit. Very cool. Mark 1 GTI. An Austin 7, bit of an Ulsteroid. By the look of it. Probably a replica built around and influenced by the original Ulsters of the early 1930s. Small boat tail car. Chassis very similar to the Austin 7 box saloons. The engine's probably been breathed on a little bit, but you can just about see it in there actually. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun, as does this magnificent Riley alongside it. Huge variety of cars. We've got a Clio Williams. And along here, if we scoot along here without slipping, we've got a gathering of GT40 replicas. Very cool. And the Gilburn Owners Club here. Ford powered, fiberglass bodied, built in Wales. These have the BMC engine, and I think is this the 1800 GT or 1600 GT? I can never remember. But yeah, Gilburn GT anyway. Nice shape. And I think I've got the A40 backlights, so yeah. The A40 Farina rear lights on these. This is 1966 car. A large contingent of sporty Vauxhalls and Opel Mantas here. Astra GTE, Manta GTE. The Lotus Carlton. Those look like a real giggle. It's caused such a storm when those were launched back in the, whenever it was, 1990s. Yep, all manner of classic cars here today, which is good to see. This is quite fruity, I like the wheels on that. Really nice Forenza. MGA 6700 RW. Very nice indeed. 1600 Mark II. They started out with a 1500 version of the BMC B series engine and went to 1600. Of course the MGB that came along later was 1800. And they also did a twin cam, which you don't see too many of. Another MGA Roadster, an MG Magnet, I do like those. Another MGA T, probably a TC.
Yeah. They do look nice, don't they?
Oof, what's this bonny little camper over here? That is just perfect for watching a day's racing from. Out of the weather, you can have a cup of tea, have your sandwiches in comfort. So that's the Austin So back in the day you either had the Morris J2 or the Austin 152, and this is obviously built on the 152. I'm not quite sure what it's called. Is it a Paralanian? I've heard of those. That's great, I like that. Tasty little Alfa GTV, an Alfa Sud, good grief. Really rare survivor. TR6 we've seen here before. This Mini we've seen somewhere. I think this was at the Malpas evening meet, I think. And the Cooper S. CV8. Wonderful car. We saw this at Weston Park, I think. 1965. Fantastic GT car. Got to prize the V8. Volvo 240 Estate. TR7 Sprint. If memory serves, this is a genuine factory built Sprint as opposed to one that someone's made themselves. Magnificent little standard 8. It looks familiar. It's a sporty looking Austin Healey 100. 100M. There's a Skyline. Nice Mini at the end there. Let's have a quick look on this back row up here. XK140 fixed head. Another one behind it. An A40 Sports. I saw this pulling in before. This has the same running gear as the Austin A40 Somerset, but with twin carburetors. Yes.
I'm sure you've got lots of information about that.
Not really.
To real. I did not know that.
Yeah, I know it is. It's an Austin A40 Sports, 1200. A pre-version of the BMC B series. Twin carburetors. I think the bodies were by Jensen, if I'm not mistaken.
I've never seen one of these before.
Yeah. Aluminium body, there you go. Based on the A40 Devon. Well, by 1953 it would have been the Somerset, I think. The running gear of the Somerset and the Devon was virtually the same. Yeah, if it's column shift it'll be Somerset based. If it's floor shift it'll be Devon based, I think. Oh, it's very classy. Riley 1.5. So that's got the twin carb 1500cc B series engine. Really nice car, two-tone. And Jensen Interceptor convertible. A very swanky machine. And a fixed head version here.
Yeah.
Corrado. The Morgan. The Cooper S, very tasty. This is a Mark II. You can tell that by the age of it, but it's got the exterior door hinges. Very tasty indeed. Midget, a round wheel arch midget. Some of the ones you see have got the squared off arches, but for a time they did these rounded off arches, then they went back to the squared off. Got a Spitfire Mark IV here for sale. 1296cc 4-cylinder engine. Nice Lotus 7 there. Or it's a Caterham rather. Many more cars here. Got a great view. It's because we're on quite a slope here, so you get a really panoramic view of the circuit. It's a lunch break now, so that's why things have quietened off. Let's have a quick look up the back here, because we're on the West Cheshire MG Club stand here. So that's an MGTF, MGB with a cover on its roof, with a Roadster. Plenty of MGs, but of course this is the 60th anniversary year of the MGB. Came out in 1962. So there are always plenty of Bs at shows this year in particular, although they're always a common sight. All these classic car shows we go to. Got a GT here. The GT came out a few years after the Roadster. The Roadster came out I think in 62 and the GT was 66 I believe. You can tell the early cars because they don't have that reverse light on the rear panel. The very first MGB GTs don't have that. At some point, shortly into production, they put them on there. There's a neat little moped, a new Hudson no less. Great stuff. I've no idea what's this. It's on a K registration. It's a very long, narrow chassis. But what it is, I have absolutely no idea. It's a huge bonnet. What's it hiding under there? Maybe a quick check of the DVLA site will give us the engine capacity, and that might give us a few clues as to what's hiding under there, but I've never seen that before. Yeah, it's the old Brooklands aero screens. Neat, yep. I've got a very tidy moggy here. I do like this colour. I forget what the colour is called. Yes, blue. It's like a powder blue. Thank you to my youthful assistant for pointing out it's blue. Taste the little Mini. Lotus Elan +2. What have we got here? A TT. Series 1 E-Type. Very nice, 1967. Early to mid 67. Bay window VW camper. GT6 Mark III here for Harley. You'll like that. Two-litre straight six, of course, whereas its brother here, the TR5, has a 2.5-litre engine. This is a Rochdale Olympic. There you go, there's the badge. Just to confirm it, but I knew that's what this was. J. Anstis Brown, 1965. So is this a period race car then? That's neat, that is. The filler set into the rear window. Let's continue our stroll on the line of classic cars that are here today. 911 Carrera. Ooh, nice. XJS convertible. What's this? An Alfa Romeo Sprint. 2600 Sprint. Unless I'm very much mistaken. Bertoni. That's a swanky machine, isn't it? You don't see too many of those. Go next row, got a vintage Aston Martin. It's this year, it's the 100th anniversary of Aston Martin, if memory serves. MGTD, disc wheels, Sunbeam Tiger, so that's the V8 version, the Sunbeam Alpine. Another MGTD. An Austin A40, this is a Mark II A40. Looking at the race prepared ones in the paddock before, they were Mark 1s, both Mark 1s. This is the Mark II with a different front, and as I was saying, a slightly longer wheelbase, but in the same overall body length. That's a saloon version. Of course, the Countryman had the sort of a lift-up hatch, so you had like a split hatch. Well, this is a saloon, this one. Yeah. Always good to see another A40 out and about, and it puts me to shame for not having mine on the road. I ran mine for quite a few years in the early 1990s. This is actually a base model, excitingly. This is a base model. You don't see too many of these because they've got the sealed in rear windows, most of them, the deluxes, and they have the pop open rear side windows, but this has got the fixed windows and no overriders. Again, overriders were a sign of a deluxe, so that's actually quite a rare base model A40. Anyway, while I'm on the subject of cars that I used to run, I ran an A40 until my Volvo Amazon was ready, and over here got a cracking dark grey 4-door, which mine was 4-door, the first one I had, 121 or 122. This one though has got these lovely wide section steel wheels on it, which I think do suit it. The Volvo pattern, Volvo style, still got the Volvo hubcaps on it. so they look in keeping, but they're just wider section rims, and they really do suit it, I think. Really good car, that. Really good everyday use classic car. They drive so well, these things. Solid as a rock. That's why they're so popular in rallying. It's got the early style boot emblem on it. You don't see those too often. Oh, what have we got here? Granada limo, no less. So if you fancy going into wedding business, there you go. £2,900. Really neat three-wheeler Morgan, matchless V-twin. Another release. Sporty looking Sprite here. Harley's chat with the owner. The TR3A. Marcos 1800. D-Reg 1966, so 1800. That'll have the Volvo B18 engine out of the Amazon. Super low car. Next to that, 66 Marcos. There's a much later car here. What's this? A Mantara Spider 1996 4.6 litre V8 supercharged. That must be a bit of a handful, especially on a day like this where the roads are quite greasy. Yeah, there's the evolution of the model. You can see on the earlier car it's got the Triumph. These are Triumph Herald or Spitfire bonnet catches. M for Michelotti, who designed the Spitfire and the Herald, of course. A real gaggle of lovely old minis here. There's a 64 Austin Mini Mark 1 there. A bit later, a Morris Cooper or Cooper S 1967. A Mini 95 van. Fiberglass bodied Mini. And this is a weirdo. This is an Innocenti Mini Cooper. This is a license built, Italian built Mini Cooper. Effectively very different to the UK market cars. It's got opening quarter lights on the doors, a very different dashboard, loads of gauges going across. It's like a moulded dashboard, if I remember. There you go, you can just about see. That's a very cool car, and like I say, opening quarter lights, which they don't normally have. Yeah. There you go. Innocenti, license built. Innocenti also built their own version of the Austin A40. They called it the Futura. Yeah, you don't see too many of these Innocenti Mini Coopers. Left-hand drive, really cool car. A lovely dash, so much nicer than the dash on the UK cars, I think. That's really nice. Real mixed bag on the RS Ford stand. We've got a Mark 1 Estate, Mark 1 Escort Estate, a Reliant Kitten, a wild Skoda that we've seen somewhere else before, I can't remember where. Mark 1 Fiesta, Golf Cabrio, Renault 5 GT Turbo, Sierra Estate, mighty GMC pickup truck, and the Mark 2 Fiesta on the end here, so that's a real mix of cars there. Over here, 1964 Renault 8 Gordini. Look at the wheels on that. Very rare survivor that is. Souped up version of the Renault 8. Next to that, a Renault 5 Turbo. That's nice. There's a big sign at the back saying Renault 5 is 50. Don't think I've ever been in a Renault 5 or sat in one, etc. Another one here on the Gordini wheels. Just beyond this lovely little Lotus is the Honda stand, the Honda S800 stand. There's some real rarities here, the Honda S800 Roadster. Very pretty little car, super revvy. And this is a Honda 600. That's a rare car. I've only ever seen one of these at the NEC, I think. Honda Matic. Shades of Austin A40 Mark II.
Yeah. Well, again, that must be money in the back.
Over here we've got a bit of pre-war action. What is this then? Made in USA, Hudson Super Six. What a beauty that is, twin spare wheels. Perfect for long distance touring. Brakes on the back. Very similar to the Dodge setup actually, with a contracting band on the outside of the drum. Those are the adjusters there, and at the back there. Yeah, that's contracting. The handbrake, or the emergency brake as they called it, is inside the drum if it's anything like the Dodge, and the foot brake operates that lining on the outside there. No brakes on the front, just like the Dodge. That's a beauty, that is. Next to that big Hudson is this tiny little Austin 7. Very little sort of boat tail, well not boat tail is it, just sort of curves off a bit like the two-seat Minor that we've got at home. Very sweet little car that is. Got a Swallow here, an SS1 or is it SS2? I can never quite remember which way around it is. There you go, Swallow coach builders set up by William Lyons, later of Jaguar of course. Next to that, a Ford Model Y, four-door version. So that's the original Ford 8, which became the Anglia just before the war and then after the war when our Anglia was built. It's the same 933cc side valve, four-cylinder engine under the bonnet of this one, 3-speed gearbox, vacuum wipers, all very, very similar under the skin, but quite a lovely looking little car these, I think. They really do look like a miniature American car, but these were built obviously in this country, probably assembled overseas as well, but mainly in this country. 2 doors and 4 doors. There's a 2-door rather, just at the end of the row over there, so we're going to have a look at that in a minute. You can see this is what they call a long rad Ford Model Y, because the rad is quite tall, which required a dip in the front bumper so that you could get the starting handle through that hole there. The earlier cars had the short rad and a straight bumper, so that's how you can tell an early and a late Ford Model Y. Really nice interior, can't see in there really. Really nice shape, very similar to the Morris 8 Series 1. I think the Morris came later. It's nice to see some pre-war cars here. Another little Austin 7. So that's a little box saloon, they call those. Some of them had longer doors than others. Sometimes the door curves over part of the rear arch and then comes up, and some just goes down forward of the arch, like this one. All sorts of different variations on the Austin 7 theme, so you have to really know your Austin 7s to be able to pick them all apart, and I don't, sadly. Then we've got an MGA fixed head. And here is the two-door, or Tudor as they often call them, Ford Model Y, and this is the short rad. So as you can see, the rad isn't as long as the rad on the car over there, and it's got a straight bumper because it doesn't need it. The actual starting handle just goes through there without needing the dip in the bumper. That's a super original oily ragger. Looks like it could do with a fresh coat of oil, but that's lovely, that is. This is a regular here at Oulton Park, so I was expecting to see it here at the Gold Cup. Again, really American influenced styling on these early 1930s Ford 8s. But yeah, great to see some pre-war cars here. This is a lovely TR2. I don't think we've seen this one before, have we? I don't remember it. Quite an early car. Like I was saying, the TR2, 3 and 3A all have very slightly different front ends on them. The TR2 just has that really recessed grille. And on the TR3 it came out much further, and on the 3A it was a bit wider. What's this? Early long door TR2, 1954. It's the original colour is geranium. Very rare car. Many other TRs, 5s, 6s, TR4A. There's another TR3A with a wider grille, exterior door handles. TR7 convertible. Last of the TR line, TR6, sorry? Was there? The TR8, oh there is, isn't there? You can spot that, 3.9. One of the Cheshire Classic Car Club stands here, South Cheshire Collectors Car Club. That lovely GTV we've seen before, beauty that is. There's Mike Stroop, Snoot Firenze. Bit of information there, let's go and have a quick shufty. Rare beast now. Similar to GTC. Alpha Spider, MGA Roadster, rubber bumper midget. Is this not the? This is a 289 based replica, isn't it?
It's not the same one, because that one didn't have the...
It's not the one we saw the other evening, but
it is also nice.
It is nice, isn't it?
289's nice. Yeah.
It's nicer, isn't it? A bit less in your face than the 427s. Some nice Z cars along here. 240Z Super Samurai. Very handsome machine. Big straight 6 engine, triple carbs.
Wow, that's a huge engine. Triple carburetor.
Got the later 280ZX there, the 260Z. It's very similar to the 240Z to look at. The rear lights were slightly different, as I remember. Another 240Z, so you can see the 260Z, the reverse lights are there in the rear panel, separate, and here they're integral on the 240Z. That's a beautiful car, that is. Really classy looking car. And the Fair Lady Z, that's what they were called in the American market.
He has. It's Willis from Wilson, and it's Andy Biddlehurst. Charlie Martin is still fourth, fifth is Johnny 51, and Daniel is ninth, then Rowan in the mid circuit. Get to Cascade Park, that much slower than what Dayton is currently doing. That's right.
There's all those Z cars we saw before, but there's that lovely Hudson Super Six. As you'd expect, there are quite a few E-types here, because it's as well as the MGB. It's the 60th anniversary, I think, of the E-type, and here is the most famous of all, 77RW. I think this is the Geneva Motor Show car. A very historic Jaguar indeed. What a shape. You can tell it's an early E-type because it's got the external bonnet locks on the front wing there. This will be one of the flat floor E-types. The first few cars had the flat floors. Behind this hedge we've got a Delta. Now, it's not an Integrale, which makes it really quite rare. This is the Lancia Delta HF Turbo. So the one rung down from the Integrale, I argue probably rarer. Probably way rarer than the Integrales. Yes, that's a pretty groovy trim, isn't it? Not sure if we can see that, but over here, a bit of six-cylinder goodness, an MGC GT. Very nice indeed. Big 3-litre straight six in the front of these, significantly re-engineered in order to accommodate the engine. Weren't great sellers, and then they were kind of replaced by the MGB GT V8 with a much lighter 3.5 litre Rover V8 engine, but the MGC with its big heavy iron 6-cylinder engine is a really nice cruiser. The Aston's going, as is the Sunbeam Tiger. Got an interesting trio of Anglias here. This, I think, is one of the base models. It's a 65 105E, all one colour, not a different roof colour, but you can see it's got the narrow grille, a bit like that on the van. Very nice too. But yeah, this has got the grille similar to that of the van, quite a lot narrower, and I think this was like the fleet car version, which makes it a bit more unusual than usual, if you see what I mean. Fixed rear side windows as well. There's the one next to it. It's got metal frames. I'm guessing these ones, yes, these ones ping open. for a bit of added ventilation, but the buyer of this one back in 1965 didn't have that luxury. It's really nice to see these base model cars, these base spec. Steering wheel refurbishment, there you go.
How many steering wheels do you need?
Right.
How many steering wheels do you need?
There's a lot of steering wheels. Well, they do steering wheel refurbishment. That's really nice, I like that. Alongside that, we've got an Anglia Super now. Oh, there's the Austin 7 going. Anyway, where was I? Ford Anglias. Yeah, this is a Super. I think this is the 123E. Very nice, metallic. In case you can see the full width bumper on there, very different to that on here. Yep, it's a super duper. And here, another one, very nice too, two-tone, clip-on white walls. I had some of those on my PV 544, but I took them off. They're not white walls, they're like clip-on plastic. You let the tyre down, clip them over, and then pump the tyre back up. Austin 7 still on manoeuvres. Gilburn leaving, 3 litre V6.
And I've got the... I told you about some French negatives. I don't think I bought the French negatives. No, I didn't know.
Coming out in a moment for the historic Formula Junior race.
DB5 that isn't silver.
Page 41. Really just a moment.
Look at that, Delage. Good grief. What a beauty that is. Look at the sort of split V windscreen on it. It's a beauty that, isn't it? Just having another trawl of the paddock area in case we missed anything. Wow. This is a regular at many VSCC events, an AML car. I suspect that's an aero engine bolted into the front of that. AML car Hispano. There we go. So it's a Hispano aero engine, I think. And this Talbot's a bit more us. It's a 105 series Talbot, I think. I like the turn signals on the front. LMB. That's Leslie Bellamy, the guy who used to do the tuning bits for Sit Up and Beg Ford Pops, the independent front suspension and other tuning mods. There you go. Save the planet, buy a car that lasts 100 years. Amen to that. There's a whole gaggle of vintage cars here now. Wow, that's, I don't think I've seen this Elvis before. Riley. I'm guessing that's another one based on a 12.4 perhaps. little Riley special there. Very small radiator, isn't it? This probably explains why there's so many louvers in the bonnet, just to try and keep it cool, because that grille is not large. Stunning little MG racer here. Supercharged, hung out the front there. Yeah, lovely, isn't it? There's another one with all the supercharger all on view. Big SU carburettor hung off the side of it. It's a Railton, isn't it? Yeah. Ginetta. Mark 1 Triumph. What's that registration plate on the back there? Looks a bit unusual. Let's have a look. QLD. Queensland. It's been imported from Oz. Mark 1. I'm told that baby Bertha's round here somewhere. There it is. Whoa, look at that. DTV, Dealer Team Vauxhall. That is one cool machine. Yeah, it's a very famous 70s car. This is a 70s race car. It's probably one of the most famous cars here, actually. There's Brian Johnson in his Mini. Split screen VW van. How bonny is that? We'll just have to go and stand at the final corner down at Lodge. Looks like a few people are starting to depart. There's that lovely little Morris Minor we saw on that very unusual special. Right, well, I think we've seen pretty much everything. There's a few vintage cars going around for another qualifying session prior to tomorrow's races. But I think we're probably done, so we've been walking all day, so I think it's probably time to collapse into the sumptuous arms of the Standard's commodious interior. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video about the... Was that a bit much, was it? Alright. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Plenty more videos along very, very soon.
Car traction.
Car traction, yes. Right, thank you very much. Bye bye.